Hello everyone, my name is Linda Montes and I am going to walk you through completing the report cards for 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. So we're creating this podcast because there's been a change in the report cards, and this year you will see that the report cards include, for students who are English learners, a section of the EL continuum. So rather than going to a separate place, you're going to be completing the EL continuum as part of your PowerTeacher gradebook. And then for students who have been reclassified, who once were English learners and now they are redesignated Fluent English Proficient, um, you will also see the reclassification monitoring form embedded into the report cards, right? So this is what the new report card will look like. So your section is always, and then either the RFET monitoring form if they've been reclassified, or the EL continuum if they're an English learner. So just to point out, for the EL continuum, it also looks a little different. This kind of reflects the new ELD standards and the Common Core uh, initiative, and so the sections that you will complete for the EL continuum are under the 3 modes of communication, if you recall, are collaborative, interpretive, when they're comprehending the listening and context, and then production is the producing or expressing of information. So under the 3 modes of communication, there are 2 areas that you will address. So for example, for collaborative, the student exchanges information and ideas, offers and supports opinions. And for the interpretive mode, understands information presented orally or understands text read independently. For productive, presents information orally and composes written text. So this is what the EL continuum now looks like. And then the coding system is different also. It's a 1, a 2, or a 3, and that's based on what you observe in the classroom and their production of the coursework. So emerging means that they're at a beginning level. 2, they're at an intermediate level of proficiency, and 3, they're bridging. They're almost there. So they're probably at CELT levels 4 and 5. So again, emerging, they're probably at CELT levels 1, 2. Expanding means they're probably at CELT levels 3, and bridging would be at CELT levels 4 and 5. And then once the student has been reclassified, right, redesignated Fluent English Proficient, then we have to monitor them for 2 years in the 2 core subjects of English Language Arts and in math. And so what you will see for the RFET monitoring form is, first of all, you won't need to input this grade because it's going to be automatically populated from your report card. So for English Language Arts, student is an A-, and so that's automatically populated for you there. And then for math, the student, if you look above, the student in the area of math is failing the class, so it's reflected on the report card. And so what you need to do is, first of all, if the student is already at grade level, so that would be at level A, B, or C on the report card, A, B, or C, then you don't have to complete this RFET monitoring form because the student is already at grade level, right? So you just continue to monitor, maybe you continue to provide small group support, but for sure, if the student is not passing the class, and that would be reflective of a D or an F, on the report card, you absolutely do need to complete this section. So maybe for this student, you would provide small group support, have conference with a parent, and provide a student study team, for example. Okay, so this is what the new report card would look like. So let's figure out what we're going to do and how do we complete it. So the first thing is you log on to your PowerTeacher, and then the question is, well, how do I know who's an English learner and who's RFET? So what you can do is, so for example, I want to find my class roster for 3rd period. So I click on the printer, and then I scroll down under class attendance, scroll down until I find ELA status. So click on ELA status, click on submit. Click submit, and then you can view your class roster. And here are your students. Okay? And then it tells you under ELA status whether they're an RFEP student or an English learner. If they're EO, you don't have to complete either of those. There's English only students. So RFEP monitoring or EL for the EL continuum. So let me show you that again. So I'm going to go under PowerTeacher. This is a test, so PowerTeacher. And then what I would do is complete one of these for each class period. So here above I have first period, second period, third period. So now I want to have my fourth period roster. So again, how to do this, click on the printer, under class audit, attendance audit, scroll down to EL status. So ELA status, click submit. It'll take you to this page where you can view. And what you can do from here is just print that out. So you have them in front of you and you'll always have them. So you just keep them next to you. So then you'll know who your students are you need to support in the classroom. Okay? So again, I just choose to keep them up here for here. So first period, second period, third period, fourth period. Okay? So just that's how you would do that. So again, I'm going to go back to the main PowerSchool page. Sorry about that screen. Okay, C.D. Wilson test, and this is just a test run. So again, this goes back to my main page. Okay, so once I printed out all of my rosters for each of my class, so I know who's an English learner, who's an RFEP, I'm going to click the launch button, and that's going to take you to Launch Gradebook. Right? Since I've done that, launch, you've probably done this before, you launch Gradebook, and this is the screen that appears. All right, so you want to make sure that you're on final grades. And if you've been using Gradebook, then your grades are automatically populated here. So the last thing you need to do is complete whether the student is an EL student or an RFEP student. Okay, so these are the three for the RFEP students for English Language Arts and Math. And then for the student if they're an English learner. So it's the 6. So 2 for collaborative, 2 for productive, and then 2 for interpretive. Okay? So what I'm going to do, so I'm going to look at my first period roster. So if I go back here, oops, let me move that out of the way. So I'm going to now move that out of the way. Sorry about that. So I'm going to go back to my first period roster. So I know who my students are, and I know this student, Jasmine Camarena. So I'm going to go to Jasmine Camarena, and I know she's an EL. So click on Jasmine Camarena here. So she's an English learner, so I'm going to fill out exchanges, information, and ideas. I think she's about an intermediate level. Offers and supports. So if you hover over the screen, the green, it'll pop up so you can read it better. So offers and supports opinions and ideas. The grade scale is a 1, 2, or 3, beginning, intermediate, or perhaps early advanced. So offers and support ideas, 2, do that. So here, understands information presented orally. She definitely understands, so I'll click on a 3. Okay. So another way, if you just double click, again you can determine understands, let me hover over this, understands text read independently. She has a little more difficulty with that, so 3 or 2. Okay? So that's how you're going to complete each section. And then when you're done, click Save, and automatically saves for you. And then I'm going to choose another student. So I'm going to choose again an RFEP. This is what the RFEP monitoring form looks like. So what will appear here is if I'm an English Language Arts teacher, only the 3 sections of individual small group support or conference with a parent or a student study team will appear. If I were the math teacher, only the section of math I would complete. So let me clarify. If you're an English Language Arts teacher, you only complete the English Language Arts section. If you're the math teacher and you have an RFEP student, then you complete the math section for the RFEP student. And then for a student who's an English learner, if the student happens to be in an ELD classroom or a designated ELD classroom, the ELD teacher will complete the EL continuum, right? They would know the most about the student. If the student happens to be receiving reading support, they're an EL student and they have a different class for reading, a reading support, then the reading support teacher would complete it. If they're an English learner and they have neither an ELD designated class or reading support class, then the English Language Arts teacher would complete the EL continuum. So in order, the ELD teacher, if there's one designated for an English learner, our reading support teacher, if there's one designated. That could include the RSP teacher. And then if neither of those classes exist for a student who is in middle school, then the English language arts teacher would complete the continuum, right? So here's the RFEP monitoring for the student. Escobar, well, I noticed that she's doing well in my class. So what I'm going to do is, am I offering small group support? For sure. So I just indicate with an X that they're offering small group support for the student. And then I'll save, right? So that's how you will be completing the EL continuums for students who are an English learner and the RFEP monitoring student form for the students who are RFEP, right? So one last piece is if you would like to print your report card. Put this out. So let's go back to the main page. So if you hit on Start Page, again, if you click on, you want to click the entire and print all the report cards. Under Class Audit, if you go to Kennedy Report Card Trimester 1, okay, and you hit Submit, take you to this page, and you wait until you're able to view it. And then once you're able to view it, and so rather than to wait, I'm just going to click on this one. Then you can print this page. So if you hit Print Original Document, you want to make sure, and it already does this, but you just want to make sure that your view is on, the view is just Portrait. I think it's what it's called, is Portrait, right? And then you click Print. And then you can print out your report card. So it works the same way. So we go back. Oops. Go back to the page. I'll take you back. Sorry. Let me go back to Power Teacher. Sorry about that. It took me off screen. All right. So again, just make sure you're clicking on the backpack, and you'll be able to Class Audit. So you want to connect the first trimester report card, click Submit, and you can view, here's one that's already been completed. Here are the report cards, and you can just print. And you see it. All right. So thank you very much. If you have any questions, you're welcome to call me, Linda Montes, or you can email Cheryl Biggs, and we'd be glad to help you complete this. Thank you very much.